Welcome to the second day of review for our Keystone test. Now, this is still being pulled, just so you know, from Module 1 of a practice test. It's just the second half of Module 1. I thought it'd be too much to do anymore. Yesterday, when I was going over things with students, I did notice that there was some confusion with least common multiples. So I put this one in here again for you. So let's find the least common multiple of 12x to the 6th and y to the second, and 18x to the fourth and y. Now that means we need to list multiples. So multiples of 12 are 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, and I'm going to stop and see what I have for 18. So multiples of 18 are 18, 36, and I'm going to stop. The least common multiple matches right here, so there's no need for me to find any more multiples of 18. So the least common multiple will start with 36. When you do least common multiple, you need to pick the bigger x because both x's will fit in it, and you need to pick the bigger y because both y's will fit in it. So we're not going to pick the fourth and we're not going to pick the first. Now the GCF are things that you're really good at, okay? That's what goes into them. It's in reverse. So when you think about 12, you know how we have like 12, 6, 2, 3, 4, and 1? Well, 18 is 18, 9, 6, 3, 2, 1. I don't think I'm missing. Oh, and 9. Oh, I have 9. 9, 2, 6. I think that's all of them there. Yeah, that seems to be all of them. So what's the greatest thing that they share? Those sixes. And that's something that you're used to finding the GCF of something. And how many x's do they both have? Well, one has a 6 and one's a 4. So we have to say 4. We pick the smaller one. And do we pick y squared or y? We pick y. So it's weird they act in reverse of each other. Number 2, Sam arrives at an amusement park with $61 so he can spend at the amusement park. So that's going to look like a total to me. I'm just going to go ahead and say total. The entrance fee at the amusement park is $20. That looks like a one-time fee. And $3 to play a game, $4 for a ride. He's going to play 6 games and go on X rides. Write an inequality to represent the situation. Solve the inequality. Okay, so the total is 61. So I know he has to spend less than or equal to $61. That's going to include the $20 fee for going in the park. It's going to cost, let's see, $3 to play every game and $4 for every ride. But I do say he plays 6 games. So I'm going to get rid of this G that you see. I'm going to replace it with a 6. So there's my inequality. This represents the games. This represents the rides. And this represents the entrance fee. And this represents how much money he has. So that's going to be 18 plus 4R plus 20 is less than or equal to 61. I'm going to solve it now. That's 4R plus 38 is less than or equal to 61. That's 4R. I'm moving kind of fast. I apologize if it's too fast. I just want to make sure the video is nice and short to keep your attention. 61 take away 38. I have a calculator here. I don't want to screw anything up. It's 23. So that's 4R is less than or equal to 23 and divide by 4. R is less than or equal to 5.75. So he has to ride less than or equal to 5.75 rides. Well, that doesn't really make sense, right? So let's just go down to 5 rides. And that's going to be our answer for this problem. Excuse me, please. I have a frog in my throat. And quickly, I'm just going to open up the answer key while I'm here. Number 3, April is purchasing bottles of orange juice and bottles of apple juice. That sounds like an X and a Y to me. She's going to buy no more than, so that's less than or equal to, 6 bottles of juice altogether and no more than, less than or equal to $10. Every bottle of orange juice is $3.75 and every bottle of apple juice is $1.25. The graph shows the solution or represents the situation. Write a true statement about x being 2. Oof. Okay, let's take a look at a true statement about x being 2. So here's where x is 2, and here's where x is 2. So when I look at this graph, I can say that if she buys 2 bottles of orange juice, she can buy, oops, let me spell the word buy right. Now, since it's like shaded underneath, I'm going to write no more than, and then the intersection there was at 2 bottles of apple juice. In your notes, I'll try to have some fill in the blanks there because that was, well, that was just like a lot to take. So I'll try to have probably some fill in the blanks about 2 bottles and no more than 2 bottles of apple juice. I think that will probably be the most helpful thing for you. All right, let's move on to the next one. Just double checking everything as I go along. I would hate to screw something up. It's been a hot minute. All right. And just double checking this answer. Sorry, you can fast forward while I'm just double checking everything. The answer was A, at most 5 rides. Okay, so on the answer key, instead of saying less than or equal to 5 rides, they said the same thing. They just wrote at most 5 rides. So that makes sense. It's the same phrase as what we wrote. All right, and then there was this problem. I'm just double checking. I don't want to do anything wrong. I have to redo it. And the answer is 2 bottles of orange juice, no more than 2 bottles of apple juice. And that one was perfect. All right. Now it's time to take a look at our number 3. This came from an open-ended, okay? So it says small baskets of tomatoes are sold, and I hit enter and made things bold for you, okay? Small baskets of tomatoes are sold at the vegetable stand for $3 for a basket. So I'm going to do $3 per tomato basket. Large baskets are sold for $5 for large baskets. So you know what I'm going to do is 3 for small. Maybe I'll just call that 3x. And 5 for large, I'm going to call that 5y. Only whole numbers of baskets can be purchased, so like 1, 2, 3, or 4. A customer purchases a total of 8 baskets, so that in and itself is an equation. That's x plus y is 8, and pays a total of 36. And that's going to be 3, because anything that deals with money. So instead of just x plus y, it's $3, $5, and that equals $36. I always do that when I read, just try to make my equations as I go along. Write and solve a system of equations. Oh, so I already wrote my system, didn't I? So my system is this first equation and this second equation. And to solve that, we know exactly how to do that already. We've been practicing that. Let's change colors. And sure enough, x is small. We did that right. And y was large. So I'm going to do 3, 1. Maybe I'll use a negative 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Something I should make sure to reference. When you do your keystones, you cannot go outside of the box. They won't grade anything that you do outside of the box. So if you have large handwriting, I was telling this to my daughter because she has very large handwriting. It's like, honey, you got to make sure you take your time and really get it all to fit in there. So same encouragement to you guys. So I distributed my 3 in the numerator. I distributed my 3 in the my 1 in the denominator. And we just did this with our last quiz, so that's great that we see this here repeating. Those cancel out, and we get 2y equals 12. Divide by 2, and y is 6. Now I've got to get x, and you guys are so good at this. So I'll just use 3x plus 5y, which is 6, equals 36. So I put y in as 6. 3x plus 30 equals 36. Take away 30. 3x is 6. divide by 3, x is 2. Now, what you really need to make sure that you do is not just leave it like that, but you need to put labels on it, okay? So maybe say they buy 2 small baskets, and what did we get? 6 large baskets. And that's what they're going to be looking for, is a statement that explains what you solved for. This pen's starting to die. Part B, another customer claims that he can purchase 10 baskets. Well, there's my first equation. And $45. So let's just spend that instead. And we're going to see if he is correct or incorrect. So we'll do the same thing. -3 and 1. It says, see, use a system of equations. That's what we just did. That's what that is. That describes his purchase and explain if he is correct. So -3x minus 3y equals -30. 3x plus 5y equals 45. Cancel, cancel. 2y equals 15. Ooh, let's see. And y, when we add those, we end up getting 7.5. Now let me take a look and make sure that I am not incorrect here. Okay, that would be embarrassing if I was, wouldn't it? Got it. Okay, so we're doing really good. This is a problem because up in the directions, that looks so messy. Problem. Up in the directions, you said you had to buy a whole number of basket. So I'm going to write you cannot buy 7.5 baskets. So he is wrong. And that's all you need to do. You don't even need to solve for x because up in the directions it said only a whole number of baskets could be purchased. You can't go and say, I want half of a basket. So number 4. All right. An empty cement mixing truck weighs 26,000 pounds. Concrete weighs 4,000 pounds per cubic yard. The cement mixing truck weighs 64,000 pounds when it's filled with concrete. Whew, that was a mouthful. So this is just, I would draw you a truck, but I can't. So this is the truck. This is what's getting added to the truck per cubic yard. And this is a full truck. That's what all those directions is saying. So they even made the compound equation already for you to talk about the weight. You can see there it is empty, there it is full, and here's the equation on how that happens. Now, the next thing it says is complete the inequality below. So do this, but show your work here to show the possible amounts of concrete in cubic yards that can be carried by the truck. So this is a double problem. All right. Look at the middle. I'm guessing you're like, I probably need to subtract 26,000 because that looks normal to get C by itself. And you'd be right. You're just going to do that here. And you're going to do that here. So this gives you 0 less than or equal to 4,000 C less than or equal to, I'm going to type it in my calculator because I, 1, 2, 3, do not have time to get it wrong. Okay, so that's 38,000 over here. Divide by 4,000. And you're just going to do that on the left and the right. That's odd, isn't it? You're not used to, it's like 2 problems in one. So that makes 0. There's C. And I'm going to do this on the calculator because I legit just don't have time to do things wrong. 9.5. So we can buy 0 cubic yards, or we can buy up to 9.5 cubic yards of concrete mix. I'm sorry, the pen is absolutely dying. I'm going to go ahead and get a charge going on that. Part B. A mix is put into the cement mixing truck to create concrete. That in and of itself was enough of a sentence to make me not want to read anymore. But because we're going to earn these points, we're going to read it. We're going to follow through. All right, I just had to plug in my pen. So sorry if you heard that disaster. You can. Yeah. Part B. The cement mixing truck must then arrive at its destination no more than 1.25 hours. So it has to be less than or equal to. The cement mixing truck can average no more than 25 miles every hour per. That sounds like a slope. Write an equality that describes the possible distances between the location the mix is put into the cement mixing truck and the distance. Holy cow, that is a mouthful. But I do know I see that word per. So it's going to be 25 miles per hour. I like that. And I can go no more than 1.25 hours. So that is going to be 25 times 1.25 hours. So this is what I use that because it said per and that made it its slope. So that's why I put it by the word hour. So per h, 25h. So when I multiply those together, I end up with 31.25. And this is how many miles? Remember how it said miles per hour? So the inequality will say no more than. So my distance, I'll just use D for distance. Oh, because they wanted me to. Can be no more than 31.25 miles. And I'm pretty certain that's all there is to it. It looked, when I first started looking at this one, it looked a lot more intimidating than that. But my key word was the word per, and it said hour, and it had 25, right? So just like as a side note, that meant 25 times h. And then they told me my hours were 1.25, so I just kind of followed that through in that particular way. All right, let's go on to part C. A specific job, so we're still talking about this concrete, right? Will require no more than, so less than or equal to, 1 truckload of concrete. The company will use the cement mixing truck that has a specific load capacities for carrying concrete. The trucks that they use for this job will either have a load capacity of 6 cubic yards or 12 cubic yards. So it depends on, I guess, whatever truck they take. The linear inequality graphed below, so this thingamabobber, can be used to find the number of loads of concrete that each size will provide enough concrete to complete the job. Holy cow, there was a lot going on there. I don't know about you guys, but that was a lot. What is the minimum number of cubic yards of concrete needed to complete the job? Whew, I hope you're ready for this. I had to honestly look this one over. Now, once you see it, it's like, oh yeah, that wasn't so bad. But kind of like reading it over at the beginning was a lot for me to handle initially. But I was like, oh, and I'm wondering if you guys will do better than I will. All right, so I'm just grabbing my answer key. I bet I sound like an idiot over there that's okay. All right, what is the minimum amount of cubic yards? So the answer is going to be 36. So let me explain why it has to be 36. Let's say that they take 3 loads that are 12 cubic yards. Well, 3 times 12 is 36. Remember the bottom of this line? Everything above it is an answer, so the line itself represents the minimum. Let's say instead they take 6 loads that are 6 big. Well, 6 times 6 is also 36. But you might say, Miss Angela, you're telling me the line is the lowest, and it is because it's the bottom of the graph. What about 2 of each? What if they took 2 6 loads? Well, that would be 2 6 loads, which is 12. But then that would also be 2 12 loads, which is 24. So guess what? No matter where we go on the line, the minimum amount that they must bring is 36 cubic yards because it's the bottom or the minimum of the graph. That was kind of a hard one. What ordered pair in the solution set, so in the graph, represents the least total number of loads of concrete needed to complete the job? Let's delete all of my extras I put on here and see what we can come up with. What ordered pair in the solution set represents the least total number of loads of concrete needed to do the job? So remember, this line represents the minimum. So let's look at our loads. So this is a possibility 0, 3. And this is a possibility 2, 2. This is a possibility 4, 1. And this is a possibility 6, 0. So which one of these answers, I'm going to bring that down so I can show you it in this problem. Which one of these will be the least amount of loads? Well, this one is a total of 3 loads because it was 2 different trucks. This is a total of 4 loads from the 2 different trucks. This is a total of 5, and this is a total of 6. So 0, 3 is the point that represents the least amount because it represents 3 loads between the 2 trucks. Now, every open-ended question is 1 point per part. So like number 4, if you can do the first part, you earned yourself a point. If you can do the second part, you earned yourself a point. If you can do the third part or the fourth part, you earned yourself a point. So there are a total of 4 points altogether. So even if you can't necessarily do all the math behind it, maybe you could reason some of it and get at least 1 or 2 points out of 4, which is a great score, or at least better than getting a 0 out of 4. All right, you're going to have some practice problems that look just like this now.